Hello and welcome to the Nexus Gaming Series. I am your caster tonight. I am the Crushinator, and I am here bringing you some Division C East action between World Hunger Avoidance Team and Scalding Sweat Cult. Now, as the lobby is forming here, let me take you to the tail of the tape to let you know how these two teams stack up. World Hunger Avoidance Team coming into today's match with four match wins and 4 losses, currently sitting on a map record of 10-8. This team has played a lot of their flex matches already, so you'll see the difference in maps played between these two teams. When they get the choice, this team likes to go to Towers of Doom and Volskaya Foundry, though World Hunger Avoidance Team has actually played on every available NGS map this season except for Tomb of the Spider Queen. They're willing to go to pretty much any map available. And their most played heroes thus far have been Thrall at 6 games played, Arthas at 6 games played, and Jaina at 5. One thing I will note about their previously chosen heroes, though, a lot of Tyrael and Uther, so we may see some Invulnerable tonight. Looking at their opponents, the Scalding Sweat Cult, coming into tonight's matchup with a match record of 2 wins and 3 losses, 5-6 in the map record. When they do get the map choice, they have chosen Braxis Holdout and Volskaya Foundry twice each, another team that isn't too picky about which map they want to play. And when it comes to heroes, it's been 5 games with the Stukov, and then 4 with Raynor and 4 with Li Ming. One other pick you might want to look out for, Scalding Sweat Cult is currently 3-0 with Chromie. So we may see that undefeated Chromie here tonight. And as the lobby continues to get put together, looks like everyone is making sure they're ready to go. Everything looks like it's set up properly. Perfect. Just got a couple people getting ready before the match begins, and then we'll get you straight into game number 1. Oh boy. Another Saturday, another golfing day for me. Oh, I'm not quite as tired as last Saturday. Last Saturday was my first golfing day out of the season, and I was crazy sunbaked. Today, feeling a lot better. Still got a couple of AFKs in this here lobby. Just let them know that I'm ready whenever they are. Looks like we're going to be getting going here in just a moment. These two teams, very cordial here in this lobby. Looks like we got some friends on both sides. We are just moments away here. I've been thinking a lot about what I want to call these two teams because we've got some very elaborate names. We've got the World Hunger Avoidance Team, no spaces involved in that name. I don't know if should I call them what? Should I call them World Hunger? That seems like an improper shortening of the team name because it does not capture the essence of what they're truly about, which is the avoidance part. Still deciding. I think I'm gonna go with what an SSC. Looks like the teams are almost ready. Draft gonna be starting in just a moment here. Right. One thing I need to work on as a caster is stalling it for time effectively, or starting later so that I don't have to make up more things to say. Alright, the draft is about to get started. Before we jump over there, I'm going to take you over to the map screen. As you hear, we are headed to Battlefield of Eternity, but how we got there, World Hunger Avoidance Team is the home team and did win the flip, and chose to take first pick. The map bans coming out from both sides were World Hunger Avoidance Team banning out Volskaya Foundry and Dragonshire, and then Scalding Sweat Cult banning out Braxis, Holdout, and Infernal Shrines, and choosing to take us here to Battlefield of Eternity, where World Hunger Avoidance Team has first pick. Let's take you into the draft and see how this is going. Here we see a blank screen as my OBS loads. Come on, buddy. There you go. Raynor banned out from what? What bans Raynor? SSC choosing to ban Rhaegar. Some very map-specific bans. Raynor known to be played here by SSC, but just a very strong hero here on Battlefield of Eternity, alongside Rhaegar, one of the highest siege damage healers in Heroes of the Storm when it comes to that immortal damage. We got a Johanna ban coming out, just a nice strong meta tank. Looks like we don't have any particular target bans coming out so far. More interested in getting those maps picks controlled. Makes sense with these two teams not having a particular map preference. They're willing to shape their drafts around the map. So we do see another map ban of Li Ming coming out, very strong on poke damage from afar on these Immortals. And we do see Greymane being picked up first by World Hunger Avoidance Team. Greymane, obviously very high siege damage, very strong camp-taking capabilities. And those camp timings are very important here on Battlefield of Eternity. Now we have stuff like Malthael is open, Zul'jin is open. They're going to choose the Deckard very early in the rotation, as well as a Vala. Vala very strong here on Battlefield of Eternity, but a bit of a glass cannon. They're going to have to make sure to protect that Vala against the picks here from World Hunger Avoidance Team, as ETC is picked up, and we're going to see what their third hero is in response to this Vala. They've already got their Racer and Greymane. We'll see if they want to continue that. They're going to pick the Jaina. Jaina, a very classic combo with ETC, being able to slide through and keep people in that blizzard for some big burst damage. Ban over on the side of Scalding Sweat Cult coming in. Let's see how they want to disrupt this draft. As I take some life-giving water, it will be the Stukov ban coming out from Scalding Sweat Cult. Now, I want to double-check. I'm pretty sure that was one of their more picked heroes, if I recall correctly. And it actually will be the Chromie ban, so that Chromie, well, that did very well for Scalding Sweat Cult earlier this season, 3-0, will be taken away here by World Hunger Avoidance Team. Very well scouted there. We will see a Mephisto come out, not the most standard pick here on Battlefield of Eternity, but with all of the vision blockers around that center objective, Mephisto may elude World Hunger Avoidance Team and be able to blink in for that damage, and it will be a Thrall taking the solo lane for Scalding Sweat Cult. They've got their tank left to pick, but it'll be World Hunger Avoidance Team that is next to act. They're looking for a healer, they're looking for a solo laner, they've got their core tank and damage picked out already. Let's see how they want to round out this draft. It's going to be a Sonya in that top lane, and they're going to take a Tyrande here. Tyrande, not the strongest output healer in the game, but very strong when it comes to getting a single target pick. Being able to follow up that ETC from quite a range away. And it will be a Muradin pick coming out for Scalding Sweat Cult. Muradin, not a high-tier tank, but specifically here on Battlefield of Eternity, that level 4 Sledgehammer can really help out with that race potential, dealing thousands and thousands of damage with that Q on a fairly short cooldown here. Well, here we are. We have our drafts. We're getting into Battlefield of Eternity. Game 1 starting right now. All righty then. On the left side in the blue is World Hunger Avoidance Team with Spogino playing the Sonya. Genzors will be on ETC. Wraithling is going to be on Greymane. VZ will be playing the Tyrande, and Brickhouse B-stepping on the Jaina. Getting started here on Battlefield of Eternity. On the right, in the red, we have Scalding Sweat Cult with Kroga on the Thrall. Nubaka will be playing Vala. Broomboy will be on that Muradin. Viper will be playing Deckard, and Broomji will be on the Mephisto. As we get started here on Battlefield of Eternity, Sonya and Thrall straight to the top lane. Tyrande looking for that opening owl, not finding it. ETC controlling the top vision, Broomboy controlling the bottom vision. As we see Tyrande with the well-scouted stun, knocking Muradin off the mount here as the waves collide. Genzor is still controlling that top vision, looking for possibly a Vala to slide on here. Mephisto remaining very safe, coming in to the wave here, as it looks like everyone is going to be mostly alright. Broomboy getting a little bit deep, manages to jump out before the ETC slide is available, and will be mostly a calm exchange here in the bottom lane. As we see Sonya getting right onto this wall, but splashing the Thrall with that W is going to have to retreat. Thrall until later is going to have a bit of trouble versus all that healing coming out from Sonya. A nice root from Deckard here, but Genzors is actually sliding through. Tyrande's stun has already been spent, and Broomboy is going to get away there. Sonya still providing a lot of pressure, but Kroga keeping that lane close to his wall. Very nicely done there in the solo lane. Meanwhile, no picks here. Both teams very attentive on that bottom camp. They're going to need a player advantage before starting that up. Looks like Broomboy coming around for a pick. Manages to get the stun on Jaina, but no follow-up available as everyone else stuck in the back, having to clear that wave. Meanwhile, Kroga doing his best to freeze that wave right near those towers, not let Sonya get a lot of space to chase him down. Meanwhile, Genzor's controlling that bottom vision. Mephisto looking for a bit of poke here. Genzor's trying to slide onto Vala, but not quite finding it. So both teams are going to have to settle for some wave clear here in the early game. Mephisto trying to get some poke damage in when he can, but mostly teams just clashing here. Kroga understanding the matchup very well and just playing safely as possible. We see Vala and Deckard going to start that siege camp, whereas Greymane and Tyrande are going to start it on the side of World Hunger Avoidance Team. Objective spawning in about 35 seconds here. We do see the Sledgehammer coming out. Oh, we don't actually see Sledgehammer from Muradin. I'm surprised with that. Instead choosing to take Reverberation here, dramatically increasing the attack speed slow on the Thunderclap. Interesting that the Muradin did not choose Sledgehammer. I guess they're not so worried about their race here, with Vala and Thrall on their side. And it looks like World Hunger Avoidance Team is going to take this opportunity to try to get this bottom camp instead of being ready to get on the objective. Thrall and Vala getting the Shaman camp up to the wall as quickly as possible, where Jaina working on getting a little bit of poke damage while she can. Both teams choosing to try to get a little bit of defense instead of getting right onto the race here. We see Ruby coming out from Deckard Cain, leaving those little potions behind, and we've got a root here onto Genzor's to slide down, but manages to use the face melt to get on out of there. Vala taking a bunch of damage here, but will retreat to the safety of Deckard Cain, as we do have a defense here at the top from Scalding Sweat Cult. And they're going to be slow playing this Immortal race, making sure the camps are cleared. Oh, but Genzor is getting poked down a little bit. It's going to have to retreat and get healed up. Very nice focus fire there by Scalding Sweat Cult here in the early minutes of this game number 1. Broomboy looking for any opportunity to get a stun and follow-up. Doesn't quite find the Greymane, but Deckard there with the follow-up anyway, roots the Greymane. As both teams set to just poke out the best they can. Genzor is looking for any opportunity here to slide in, because Tyrande will be ready with that ranged stun. Genzor is continuing to scout the top bush. Broomboy controlling the bottom vision. We'll see Sonya coming in. without a lot of poke here. Actually, we do get a quick engage, but not lethal damage here as they will get healed back up. Greymane is going to have to keep auto-attacking, moves in, but gets protected by the Tyrande. Now Mephisto is starting to get some critical poke damage, forcing Tyrande way back along with Jaina, but it will be Thrall going down first. Greymane is being chased down by the Vala in the top lane. Can Vala follow up and get that Tyrande? No, manages to back out before ETC can find the slide. It will be a 1-for-1 trade, and the defense continues here for Scalding Sweat Cult. Both teams now about to hit level 7 simultaneously, as no soak has been able to be picked up by either team in the bottom lane. They're both just rotating around trying to get that top wave. Level 7 coming out for both teams. So the even talent here means another defensive position. VZ now taking a lot of damage here on Tyrande. 130 health. Can Broomboy finish up? Yes! Tyrande going down. ETC being chased away by Kroga. And we see Vala has moved on to the bottom Immortal to try to get that race potential, as the remaining 4 members only have to defend against 4 here in the top. And Vala taking us to the halftime show, and it looks like Scalding Sweat Cult going to use that advantage on health and on members to get this Immortal raced down. Broomboy moving to the other side of the map, trying his best to disrupt WorldHungerAvoidanceTeam, actually taking a lot of damage, but he keeps that Dwarf Toss for getting out, and it will be Scalding Sweat Cult taking that first Immortal. But they're going to have to be careful. WorldHungerAvoidanceTeam wants to get the kills, and will be Broomboy going down first. Viper being chased out by Sonya. ETC now on the chase as well. That slide not quite available yet. Can they get it? There's the slide onto Deckard, and Deckard Cain going down here means this first Immortal will only be able to do so much with 2 members down on Scalding Sweat Cult. Very nicely done by WorldHungerAvoidanceTeam in nullifying the effectiveness of this first objective. Very nicely done on their side, understanding the situation and where they can get that advantage. Nevertheless, Mephisto looking to get those cooldown resets, looking to poke in here, but the Immortal already taken down will only get a wall here. As the teams now reset, 4 in the bottom, 1 in the top. As Thrall safely soaking to his heart's content. We do have a small experience advantage here coming in for WorldHungerAvoidanceTeam with those extra hero kills, along with even the 250 experience from the structure. Not going to be enough to catch up just yet. Still a very slight experience lead. Level 10 should be coming in roughly the same time for both teams. As Thrall taking a little bit of extra damage from Sonya, but overall still very safely soaking. They do scout out Broomboy in that bottom vision, as both teams now managing to keep an eye on this bottom siege camp. Jaina getting it started up. Looks like they're trying to take this opportunity, but they are scouted out by Scalding Sweat Cult. Will they come in to try to interrupt this? They will not be in time, as WorldHungerAvoidanceTeam picks up the early level 10 with that mercenary camp, and this will have to be cleared out. Will they do anything with this small heroic advantage? Looks like they're going to push into the wall here. Scalding Sweat Cult only really needs this wave to get their heroics online, and there it is. 10 versus 10 as the Immortals spawning in about 20 seconds. Both teams on very even footing coming into this objective. And you can see now they're both starting that Shaman camp with such a long objective in the opening minutes. Both Shaman camps are available. WorldHungerAvoidanceTeam picking up their Shaman camp. Scalding Sweat Cult about to pick up theirs. And we are in defensive positions here. We'll see which team is in a good position to forge across the map. It looks like WorldHungerAvoidanceTeam coming in for the invade, while Vala in the top lane looking to push in that Shaman camp. Thrall had to go back, so there's going to be a bit of Immortal damage on the side. Oh goodness, we had an interrupted mosh pit, and Mephisto ult is out, Thrall ult is out. We've got some roots. Genzor is in a little bit of trouble, but the slide onto Thrall converts to a kill, but ETC, the counter kill, 4v4 here, as it looks like WorldHungerAvoidanceTeam is going to have to back out and form a defense here. Not quite triggering the halftime event is World Hunger Avoidance Team. They're going to have to do their best without ETC to lower that poke damage as much as possible. We see Sonya up here working to clear that siege camp, while Vala doing the same thing with the shaman camp in the bottom lane. Easy getting pushed out by Deckard as both teams retreat to their defensive positions here in the middle. ETC returning to the field, Thrall returning to the field, and we are back to 5v5, though a little bit of health missing on the side of World Hunger Avoidance Team. So it looks like Sonya is going down to the bottom lane, looking to regenerate some of that health. ETC now being chased away by the rest of Scalding. Sweat Cult manages to zone them away, allowing his team to return to those defensive positions. Now with Scalding Sweat Cult sending Muradin down, showing in vision, and World Hunger Avoidance Team looking to possibly cross the map here, thinking better of it. ETC is rooted in the center, manages to slide away before Vala can land that stun. Very nicely done there by Genzors. So both teams without a whole lot of poke in their compositions have to fully commit to an invade to get that immortal damage started. There we see Sonya sharking around the bottom, looking for an opportunity to soak, but wanting to be there if the team fight breaks out. Vala in a very precarious position there, manages to escape before the slide from Genzors comes in. And it looks like Scalding Sweat Cult looking to move up here. Still, very difficult positions to invade here on Battlefield of Eternity from these spots. There's only so many angles you can approach these from, and both teams with strong lane control. Broomboy actually getting spun on here. The counter ult by Deckard means Broomboy is going to be just fine. ETC taking a ton of damage, goes down to the Mephisto. And it looks like Scalding Sweat Cult will not get the counter kill here, but a great stun by Tyrande may get Greymane out, and Greymane will escape. Amazing stun there. Manages to save the Greymane, but without ETC, they will have to concede some immortal damage as they reset their health bars. Sonya going down to soak in that bottom lane, hoping to find level 13 before this next fight. Both Immortals at about half health here, and the race is on. Mephisto in the top, Greymane in the bottom. Broomboy looking to slow down World Hunger Avoidance Team as much as possible as they commit to this race. Deckard here gets the big root. Genzors looking to zone them out, and it looks like it will be World Hunger Avoidance Team with the superior race. We'll pick up this second objective. Scalding Sweat Cult remembering the gank from earlier, thinking better about forging into the middle of the map there, as World Hunger Avoidance Team committing 5 members to the top with their level 13 advantage here. But 13 about to come in for Scalding Sweat Cult, and there it is. We've got even talent advantage with this push. Thrall is soaking in the bottom lane, so we've got a 5v4 situation for World Hunger Avoidance Team. We'll see if they can possibly turn this into some picks and turn this into more than just a fort. This fort's still up and no Sylvanas on the side of World Hunger Avoidance Team. They're going to have to be careful with their damage. Wraithling taking some of that negative armor. ETC sliding in on the Muradin, but is going to have to get out of there because that tower's very angry. With the fort now gone, looks like World Hunger Avoidance Team is going to take what they're given. Sonya did come up to see what could possibly be done, but no team fight will come out, instead choosing to retreat and take this top Goatman camp. And Sonya returning to the bottom lane, continuing to try to press that XP advantage that they have. Very well done here. Oh, Brickhouse had a bit of a disconnect, but it looks like no pause needed as Sonya is extended out into lane here. Muradin looking for a pick here, but Mephisto having to warp back means the damage could not quite ride in there. Sonya managing to escape, and it looks like Scalding Sweat Cult wants to pick up this bottom camp before World Hunger Avoidance Team can get here. Let's see if they're fast enough. Tyrande has the scout, but they're just not quite there in time. Can Genzors catch this rotation? It looks like Muradin taking the safe way out with his jump. Very well done. Oh, we've got a bit of a cursed bullet here onto Mephisto, but with that warp back, will manage to escape. Sonya clearing out that camp, easy as can be. Thrall is going to be responding to the push in the top lane, meaning we've got another 5v4 for World Hunger Avoidance Team as they push into this already damaged fort. Will they take this opportunity to try to push down this fort, or will they get sent away by those empowered tower shots. Greymane jumping on the fort means that they take it out very quickly, and Scalding Sweat Cult is going to have to retreat, giving up that bottom fort. Both teams here at level 15. Could level 16 come in during this objective, spawning in about 10 seconds? Both teams looking to take their shaman camps as quickly as they can and get onto these immortals that are in north-south position. Both taken about the same time. It looks like World Hunger Avoidance Team looking for a bit of damage, but coming around for the defense as ETC is rooted here, manages to slide out, but Thrall's ultimate has been taken. Sonya on a bit of an island here in the back, hoping to get a bit of extra health with the spin, but is taken down after the Deckard root. Here we have a Mephisto root now coming out, catches ETC, and Thrall will get the kill. 2 kills to 0 for Scalding Sweat Cult means that World Hunger Avoidance Team will have to back off. Greymane going to get a bit of immortal damage here in the top lane as Scalding Sweat Cult is going to take this first half of the immortal, and with those kills will reach level 16 slightly before World Hunger Avoidance Team, but it will be 16 to 16 very shortly as we see Thrall working to clear that bottom shaman camp. The rest of World Hunger Avoidance Team looking to clear that top before it takes the fort. But Scalding Sweat Cult getting some free immortal damage here as ETC is just now returning. With Vala locked in, this immortal should go down very quickly here. And it looks like Scalding Sweat Cult with a very healthy shield will actually get scared off by the Sonya before ETC gets back. Playing it very, very safe here. With less than 3,000 health left, they're going to have to be careful here. The Poison Spear coming out on a Mephisto. A big... Oh my goodness, so much happening at once. Ults are down. 3 heroes dead on the side of Scalding Sweat Cult. They do manage to get the immortal, but they lose 3. They're chasing down Deckard, and Deckard will fall here. An amazing engage with the ETC mosh pit. We did have the Deckard and Mephisto counter ults, but it was just not enough, and Jaina with the quad kill nullifies yet another objective on the side of Scalding Sweat Cult. They really have this counter engage after the objective down pat here. I got totally tongue-tied. That engage went super quickly. As we see, the Immortal will take that weakened bottom fort, but will go no further. As Mephisto getting a bit of extra damage there. Scouting the top camp. No one is there just yet, so World Hunger Avoidance Team will press onto this bottom Goatman camp. They may surge to the top lane as we see Scalding Sweat Cult looking to pick this up in response. Seeing that the camp was just taken, they will have time to take this without much trouble. And the Goatman camp are split between our two teams here. The rest of World Hunger Avoidance Team coming through the middle. Will Scalding Sweat Cult be able to escape? Yes, they're going to retreat. And they're both going to just trade lanes, clear out those camps, and they're looking possibly for level 20 before the next objective spawns. It may arrive slightly before these teams will reach level 20, so catching as much soak at this point of the game is very important. We see World Hunger Avoidance Team roaming as 5, looking for an opportunity to get a pick here and possibly push onto these keep walls, as Scalding Sweat Cult playing safe as they have been through this whole game. Just rotating between lanes, trying to get as much safe XP as possible, trying to not leave anyone out to dry here. As we approach the level 20 phase of this game, Immortals spawning very quickly. That was a much faster objective phase than the previous one, so both teams will be level 18. It looks like level 20 will not come into play for this objective phase, at least to start with. Again, very safe rotations here on the side of Scalding Sweat Cult. They do not want to lose a member before this objective starts. They want to take a 5-on-5 here, as both Shaman camps now coming up. Both teams committing to them for now. Though the Immortals are in racing positions here. So both teams going to do as much damage as they can here. Sonya a little bit late to the party. Greymane still finishing up that camp, so it will be Scalding Sweat Cult with the superior PvE, getting a big lead here on this objective. Now we have north-south positions as World Hunger Avoidance Team looking to go back into their defensive positioning, as well as Scalding Sweat Cult once again, we're in a bit of a stalemate. We'll see who forges across the map. Teams committing to clearing those bottom lanes while they have the opportunity, clearing those side lanes. Jaina taking out this Shaman camp. Maybe level 20 could be in reach here for World Hunger Avoidance Team. Scalding Sweat Cult is going to have to get an engage before that level 20 comes in if they want a chance here. Looks like they will be the aggressors, moving on to the north side of this objective. Sonya controlling that vision is scattered out by Muradin. Both teams just looking for any position they can get. Muradin venturing forward, Deckard zoning them away. Vala looking for an opportunity to come in through the top corridor, putting a bunch of damage onto ETC, but we see the mosh pit catching too, and that's Thrall getting obliterated, but the counter engaged by Deckard and Mephisto. Is that going to be enough? Vala going down to Greymane in the top. ETC now sliding through, it has so little health, is taken out by the Mephisto. The Death Mosh catching nobody there, as level 20 did come in for World Hunger Avoidance Team during that fight. We had a 2-for-1 trade, and we see the race is now on. Looks like I'm having a little bit of lag here. I'm coming back now. Sorry about that, folks. The race was still on. It will be World Hunger Avoidance Team picking up that Immortal. Not a whole lot of shielding here. It will be going down the top lane. We'll see what the split is like. It looks like Greymane and Sonya making sure that those catapults are clear in the bottom lane before they come up. Broom Boy looking for a bit of poke damage onto Jaina while he's got the opportunity. Will manage to escape as Scalding Sweat Cult, without a fort to back them up here, will need to retreat if they see World Hunger Avoidance Team pressing forward. We see them gathering up around their keep wall. Broom Boy taking the full cursed bullet damage here is going to have to take an early tap. And we see the shielding falling from the objective. They may get a wall and not much else. We'll see if ETC can find the slide here. ETC is actually just coming up now, so without that kill potential, World Hunger Avoidance Team is going to have to back off and just take that half damage onto the top keep. But they do have some lane pressure here in the bottom lane. They may look to get a bit of damage onto this front wall. Nope, just choosing to go to this bottom Goatman camp, but Scalding Sweat Cult is hot on their heels. ETC looking to interrupt those rotations is actually stunned out by Muradin. Slide is down, the root by Thrall comes through, the stun from Vala. ETC in some trouble, gets his Mosh interrupted. Thrall with the counter kill. Death Mosh, once again, not catching anybody, but it is a 1-for-1 trade here, with ultimates spent on the side of both teams. Water Elemental remains. Stay a while and listen, and Endurance of Hate remain, but we had a big commitment there for a 1-for-1 trade. ETC going down, Thrall going down, so Scalding Sweat Cult in a slightly better position frontline-wise, with Sonya the only remaining frontliner on the side of World Hunger Avoidance Team, but Muradin remaining alive. We'll see if they can take any sort of advantage here with the 4v4. But with these lanes pushed out, they're not going to be able to contest this top camp coming in from World Hunger Avoidance Team. And it looks like they're just content to sit and wait for the 5v5 as Immortals spawning in about 25 seconds. They're going to have to clear out this camp. They're going to have to jump on their Shaman camp very quickly as we see World Hunger Avoidance Team taking out their Shaman camp, timing it with this objective here. They want to get it started as late as possible. We see Scalding Sweat Cult moving down to their Shaman camp. It's a battle to see who can take their camp second. It looks like Tyrande will blink first and take this. Scalding Sweat Cult picking up their Shaman camp. It looks like now the aggressors are World Hunger Avoidance Team looking to get that race. Oh no, ETC is not caught in the Immortal Stun, manages to slide away. That could have been a disastrous place to get stunned. But managing to escape and reset the fight here are our two teams. We have a very volatile situation as it looks like Scalding Sweat Cult looking to get their race on. We've got Jaina and ETC in the top lane, but the entirety of Scalding Sweat Cult here in the bottom, but Thrall and Jaina have to go back to clear. Both teams just putting nominal damage onto their Immortals. Now a 5-man pressure into the top Immortal here from World Hunger Avoidance Team as Scalding Sweat Cult returns to get some damage onto the Immortal of their own. a bit of an advantage here to World Hunger Avoidance Team on these Immortals. Let's check the positioning. We are in defensive positioning here, so a team fight will have to come out, but we still have the Shaman Camp pressuring the top lane for Scalding Sweat Cult. Will World Hunger Avoidance Team let that go? Jaina going to clear, and with that, Scalding Sweat Cult is going to come in, seeing that Jaina is predisposed. We are going to have a 5v4 advantage, but it's Thrall getting stunned and blown up again. Deckard with the big sleep. Got a lot of damage here coming out onto ETC. Broomboy being chased back with so much health and so much regeneration. Landing the stun onto Sonya. And Muradin chasing down Sonya, getting slid by ETC though. Still managing to get out of there. Broomboy, very low health here. Still at 500. A big Deckard root manages to get Muradin out, and the trait will pop. Broomboy will start to regenerate. It is another 1-for-1 trade. Thrall for Sonya. Will Scalding Sweat Cult be able to pressure forward? And World Hunger Avoidance Team returned to back, but at the worst time. The Scalding Sweat Cult was moving forward and getting a ton of immortal damage here. They're looking for Broomboy, and a huge blow up onto Muradin, landing him and that immortal stun. Now Vala looking to get that objective damage here, but is sacrificing themselves. They do manage to take the immortal with members down. Probably the best play they could make to make sure that this was not a game-ending push here from World Hunger Avoidance Team. It could be a possible win situation. World Hunger Avoidance Team thinking about pushing in the top lane, but without lane pressure, this push is going to be very difficult. They're looking to possibly poke down this top keep. A good stun here onto ETC, taking a lot of damage from this tower. Wraithling trying to commit to this, but Durance of Hate coming out underneath the towers means Greymane is going to go down here. Will ETC and Tyrande be next? ETC still managing to get out of there with limited chase potential. It looks like ETC may escape, but Tyrande may not be so lucky. He is caught out in the top lane here. Oh no, VZ is going to go down here to the Thrall Mephisto Deckard combo, and the Immortal is already being blown up here by Jaina, and Sonya will not get that bottom keep. But it is now a 5v3 situation with staggered deaths coming out here from World Hunger Avoidance Team. Still 25 seconds on that Greymane. It looks like Scalding Sweat Cult is going to push for this bottom. Manages to find the ETC, a big stun coming out, a big root. ETC now getting slept. Can they get the kill? ETC is going down. The Death Mosh catching two. But another staggered death for World Hunger Avoidance Team means Scalding Sweat Cult has an opportunity to possibly push for a win here. Bottom keep going down. And it looks like they're going to be moving on to the core. We've got a 5v3 situation. Still 15 seconds before Tyrande comes back up. Broomboy taking a bunch of damage from Greymane. Oh, and Jaina managing to find the blow-up onto Thrall. Amazing work there. And they're managing to stay alive. 72% on the core, and they pull off the 3v5 defense, managing to get a kill in the meantime. This game is just back and forth like crazy. They're going to even out their lanes. They're going to get that Shaman camp started while they have the chance. 4v4 for the meantime, as we see Scalding Sweat Cult taking that bottom camp in this getting close to a 30-minute battlefield of eternity. Immortal spawning here in 20 seconds. Looking to start that Shaman camp as we have... With the way things are gone, this may not even be the final Immortal push. The defenses have been immaculate from both teams here. As we see the Shaman camp marching down the bottom lane on World Hunger Avoidance Team, Scalding Sweat Cult managing to finish this Shaman camp before an invade possibility. But with Thrall still down, it looks like World Hunger Avoidance Team is going to get a lot of Immortal damage here for free, as Scalding Sweat Cult having to commit to clearing this bottom camp. Will they manage to trigger the halftime show before Scalding Sweat Cult can come in? Thrall is up. It is now a 5v5 situation, and they can't quite get that Immortal to half, but Tyrande with the poke, triggering that halftime event. Very nicely done by VZ, and now we're in north-south positions as Scalding Sweat Cult moving to the defense. World Hunger Avoidance Team will have to engage onto this. Broomboy controlling the vision, that all-important vision in that bush. Trading out with Thrall. They want to know where World Hunger Avoidance Team is. Oh, this is stressful. This is stressful. World Hunger Avoidance Team now committing to clearing that camp. Scalding Sweat Cold will have to be careful here about committing to this race. They are sending 4 down. As World Hunger Avoidance Team now coming in, with so much health still remaining, they're going to have to come back up for the defense here. Genzor is looking to slide onto Vala, but Vala leaping away. Ults are out, Kroga is being targeted, and Thrall goes down, but can they get the counter kill onto ETC? Death Mosh zoning out the rest of Scalding Sweat Cult. Vala has been caught. The vault is up, Wraithling is chasing down, and that is Vala down. It is a 1 for 2. It is a 2 for 2 trade. 3 members remaining. Wraithling taking a lot of damage here from Mephisto. Only 74 left, and Muradin managing to convert the kill. VZ and Brickhouse on the retreat. Jaina now going down here. They're looking for VZ, but VZ is going to escape here in the top lane unless Muradin goes for the chase. Looks like Scalding Sweat Cult now with pressure in the bottom lane. With only 3 members up, choosing to instead focus on this Immortal instead of going for the 3-man core push. Probably the correct call here, as their siege potential without Vala and Thrall is a bit limited. Still 52%, 40%. These catapults doing so much damage here. The 31-minute mark, 16% on the core for just 3 catapults. Maybe they could have got, maybe Scalding Sweat Cult even with the reduced siege potential, but they're making the safe play here. This Immortal will be going down the top lane that still has a keep, so we may see a split push situation, as now 5 members on the side of Scalding Sweat Cult are back. They will pick up this Immortal, and this Immortal will be pushing down the top lane. Will Scalding Sweat Cult choose to push alongside their Immortal, or will they go for the split? As we are back to 5v5 at level 24 here on Battlefield of Eternity. It looks like Scalding Sweat Cult looking to possibly go around the bottom lane. World Hunger Avoidance Team sniffing this out. ETC looking to ward them off, as that Immortal with half shielding will be smashing down that top keep with no one there to stop it. Looks like we've got a possible fight situation. We've got a stun onto Thrall here. Getting absolutely blown up, but the counter pressure by Scalding Sweat Cult is so much. 2-3 members down on World Hunger Avoidance Team, even with the Death Mosh. Sonya looking to possibly go in here, doing the best they can, but will go down. It is a 5-man team wipe for Scalding Sweat Cult, and that top keep is already destroyed by this super late game Immortal. And here they come, Scalding Sweat Cult, to claim their prize. A very well-fought game there. GG to Scalding Sweat Cult, to both teams, really, for an amazing Battlefield of Eternity. Holy shnikes. The game time isn't shown there, but I'll let you know we were past 32 minutes there in that game. Both teams playing very safely, very evenly, right up to the end. Goodness gracious me. 18 to 21 in kills. So much Greymane damage coming out with that cursed bullet at follow-up. Mephisto also just ramping up, scaling in damage into that late game with that Mimic. Level 20 talent pick. Dealing so much damage. Very well done from both sides. Really amazing work. Oh, that was a casting challenge. I haven't had a game go that long ever since I started casting this season. Very, very well done. All right, let me get in contact with World Hunger Avoidance Team, see what they want to do here. Let's see if they want first storm map pick. I'll take the opportunity to update the score. Bada boom. All right, looks like World Hunger Avoidance Team going for first pick. So I'm gonna have to contact over here. Which map would you like for game 2? Mrs. Wind Up Bird there in the chat. Miss Wind Up Bird, depending on the platform. Look, you were going to be subbing this game? Ooh. Spicy. Well, you get to see how this would have gone. Maybe you could have turned things around. Looks like we've got a quick break here on the side of Scalding Sweat Cult. As that was a long one, team's got to shake it off, reset themselves here for game number 2. Get a little drag on my coffee here. Hope everyone in chat is having a nice day. Nice Saturday here. If you're in a city that is currently affected by protests, I wish you all the safety and, you know, I hope things are as boring as possible for you, I'll put it that way, because there's some pretty spicy stuff going on around the US at this particular moment. Hope you're safe, hope you're happy, hope you're healthy. As we are getting ready to form the second lobby, World Hunger Avoidance Team has chosen first pick, so we're waiting on the map pick selection from Scalding Sweat Cult. If we take this opportunity, return to the tail of the tape. Scalding Sweat Cult. Praxis sold out, Full Sky Foundry, their most picked maps, unfortunately banned here. So let's see. The only map not played yet this season by World Hunger Avoidance Team is Tomb of the Spider Queen. Could they complete their NGS set here? Will Scalding Sweat Cult choose to take them to Tomb, or will they take them somewhere a little more familiar? Guess we'll see. As the lobby is still working on being formed. Oh, man. I don't know if it's been storming where you all live. It's been quite the thunder and rain show here today. Tomorrow is supposed to be much, much colder. So during the week, we had this crazy heat wave here. It was like, I mean, I'm up in Canada, I'm in Celsius, so it was like 30 Celsius. I don't know what that is in Fahrenheit, maybe mid-80s, closer to 90 degrees. And now we're going down to a high of 14 Celsius tomorrow, which is just a huge, huge swing in temperatures here. Oh, we got a lobby. Yeah. Excellent, excellent, excellent. Make sure that Scalding Sweat Cult moves over to the right. Will I be playing in the CCS games tonight? Not planning on it currently, but after this, if I'm feeling up for it, maybe. Might go over and check it out, or we've not formally entered as a team, though. Kael'thas can't spell. Alright, teams are now on the correct side. Getting the lobby set up here. It looks like we're going to go to Sky Temple. There's some question as to the server we're currently on. I don't know how to check that. Oops. Let me take a look here. Is there some way that I can tell which server we're on? Would it even be up to me, or would it be up to the host? Language and region. I see I'm on Preferred Central. I could go to Singapore and increase my MS immensely. Why am I not on Best Match? Accept Best Match. Hello, D. Welcome to the chat. A little bit of a public service announcement here from the Heroes of the Storm team many months ago, in case you missed it. If you're looking for better matchmaking in your games, set your preferred region to Best Match. And if you're a power gamer who needs all the MS in the world, be sure to set your region to whatever has the lowest MS, and then be worried that your teams are not close to you in MMR and you get these weird rainbow games. These things happen. I don't know. I just want the best match possible. I'm sure that I'm not good enough to notice the difference between 52 milliseconds delay and 97 milliseconds delay. Who knows? I've got bigger problems to deal with, like aiming my Q 45 degrees in the wrong direction. What division is this? This is Division C East. With World Hunger Avoidance Team and Scalding Sweat Cult. Looks like the teams are still recovering from that immensely long game number 1. 33 minutes on Battlefield of Eternity. Looks like teams are getting ready. They're singing songs in the chat. Let them know that I'm ready. And looks like we're going to be diving into draft as "What is Love? Baby Don't Hurt Me" being spelled out in text form in the lobby chat. All right. Looks like the draft is starting. So before we take you over there, we're going to take you over to the map screen one more time to let you know how we got here to game number 2. World Hunger Avoidance Team opening map bans were Volskaya Foundry and Dragon Shire. It was... Scalding Sweat Cult with Braxis Holdout and Infernal Shrines being banned away. Battlefield of Eternity picked and won by Scalding Sweat Cult, and Scalding Sweat Cult managing to pick up Sky Temple map choice here in game number 2. Let's get into the draft. Did I click the wrong button? I think I did. Oh! The quick swap takes us over into the draft. So I'm getting a little sweaty. I'm getting a little shiny here. Another Rainer ban coming out from World Hunger Avoidance Team. Maybe that's more of a target ban than I initially suspected. Let's see if we have the same sort of opening bans here coming out from Scalding Sweat Cult. Life-giving water. There it is, Rhaegar banned away here. So these teams may know each other better than I initially suspected, given the Battlefield of Eternity map bans now coming out very similarly to the Sky Temple map bans. Now, Sky Temple being such a large map and a map with a neutral boss camp, Falstad and other global heroes are highly prioritized on Sky Temple. We'll see if these teams want to engage in any global shenanigans or if they want to stick with their march and fight compositions. Johanna being banned away once again by World Hunger Avoidance Team. Non-iced coffee. I take only room temperature coffee that I brewed over an hour ago. Scalding Sweat Cult now choosing to ban away the Greymane, which was first picked by World Hunger Avoidance Team, choosing to leave the Li Ming open instead. Will World Hunger Avoidance Team jump on that Li Ming, or do they have something else in mind? They're going to grab Sylvanas here on Sky Temple, looking to possibly move around the map and get some extra structure damage. They did have a bit of trouble diving under forts and towers in that first game. Sylvanas makes that a non-issue, and it will be the Li Ming actually picked up on the side of Scalding Sweat Cult. Let's see what their second answer is in response to this Sylvanas. It will be the Deckard once again coming out for Viper. A very strong Deckard in that first game in denying the engage of World Hunger Avoidance Team with those go-to-sleeps. Sylvanas empowering the siege, empowering tower diving. We'll see if possibly the ETC, the Sonya, the Thrall, more heavy sieging heroes. It will be the Thrall once again. Are we going to see that ETC? And there it is, looking at a very similar style of composition for World Hunger Avoidance Team. Though we won't see a Bloodlust comp with that ETC Thrall, as Rhaegar has already been banned. Scalding Sweat Cult looking for their third ban here on Sky Temple. We've got a nice core of damage here. World Hunger Avoidance Team again picking their solo laner fairly early in the draft, though in terms of solo laners you'd want to pick early, Thrall is definitely one of them, very versatile up in that solo lane. It will be a response ban of Tyrande. They don't want that ETC Tyrande business coming in here on Sky Temple, forcing a slightly different strategy out of World Hunger Avoidance Team. Will we see a ban in kind? They going to target something from the last game? No, they're going to get rid of the Garrosh. They want to make sure that they don't get the Garrosh throw into Deckard route, though with the Li Ming Deckard setup combo is already online for Scalding Sweat Cult. Let's see how they want to further set that up. Mal'Ganis, a common pick with Li Ming, just putting people to sleep, setting them up for those big Li Ming combos. It's going to be the Muradin once again, and a Phoenix here on Sky Temple. Phoenix, not exactly a global hero, but can have a global ult if you're looking to be an amazing meme lord. Though with the Deckard online, getting everyone slowed, getting everyone rooted, it will probably be the... oh gosh, what is it called? The big sweepy boop boop shoot him down ult coming out from Phoenix. Purification Salvo is the name of it, and we see Malthael and Malfurion coming out for World Hunger Avoidance Team, choosing a Thrall and a Malthael here on Sky Temple. Malthael, very strong, camp clear, can do it solo, can get around the map very quickly. Though not the same amount of burst damage that they showed in that first game. Instead, choosing to go a little bit slower with the Malfurion Malthael setup, and it will be a Leoric in response to these strong side laners from World Hunger Avoidance Team. So, we've got some macro-oriented drafts in mind. We're here on Sky Temple, a map that does not really encourage team fighting, though it can happen around those temples and around those boss pits. Let's see how this one turns up. Coming into game number 2, World Hunger Avoidance Team versus Scalding Sweat Cult. Here we go. Alright, loading into Sky Temple. On the left, once again, we have World Hunger Avoidance Team with VZ on the Malfurion. Genzor is again on the ETC. Spogino on the Malthael. Brickhouse will be playing Thrall, and Wraithling on the Sylvanas. They are ready to go. On the right, we have Scalding Sweat Cult in the red with Kroga playing the Leoric. Nubaka will be on that Phoenix. Viper will be playing the Deckard once again. Broomboy back on the Muradin. And Broom G will be on the Li Ming. So it looks like we've got a bit of a Sylvanas push going on in the bottom here for World Hunger Avoidance Team. Will it be caught by Scalding Sweat Cult? They are spread out here, and they see Wraithling, and it will be a response here. But Broomboy is getting there before this tower goes down, only about half health. And it looks like they will drive away that cheese and save that tower. As we have Leoric and Malthael here in the top lane, leaving Thrall to catch this XP in the mid. 4-man rotation coming out here from Scalding Sweat Cult, and it looks like it's going to be a 3 in the bottom lane for World Hunger Avoidance Team. Malfurion, a very well-timed route, stopping Broomboy from getting onto Genzor's. And they do take that bottom tower here. So it will be a 1-1-3 versus the rotating 4-man from Scalding Sweat Cult. Two different macro decisions here coming out from these teams. We'll see how it works out as we have Malfurion and Sylvanas working on this camp straight away as the 4-man from Scalding Sweat Cult fully committing to this siege camp here at the 1-minute mark. Looks like Kroga had to tap here versus this Malthael. Oh, we've got a pause here. Thrall, a bit of a disconnect. Hoping Thrall returns. As we get into the pause, we saw both teams picking up their siege camps. And we're going to hope that we get our Thrall player back. I'll take you back to the Crush Cam. Thrall not quite returning to the game yet. Hopefully we get Brickhouse back in the game here shortly. Both teams on very even footing here. We had a different macro decision. Oh, looks like Brickhouse is back. I'm going to take you back into the game as the teams count down, and we are resuming here. Not too bad there. Poor Brickhouse is returned. The battle continues. Leoric versus Malthael on the top. 3-player push in the bottom here is responded to by Scalding Sweat Cult as they look to clear out this bottom siege camp. Though with the 1-1-3, this will be a fairly easy defense here for World Hunger Avoidance Team. Thrall playing safely as he can here in the mid, wanting to deny as much experience as possible, just working on those Echo of Elements stacks. Looks like we've got Sylvanas and Malfurion, not the fastest clearers, but fairly safe clearers, working on this Bruiser camp, whereas Deckard and Phoenix working on the Bruiser camp on the side of Scalding Sweat Cult. Both teams on fairly even footing here, getting to level 5 roughly at the same time. If we take a look at the experience, slightly, basically the same minion experience on both sides here. So the macro decisions, no team has taken an early lead due to it. The macro is very similar on both sides, but a 1-4 versus the 1-1-3 here. 2 top temples activating, as is standard here on the first objective of Sky Temple. Both teams committing to this top lane to get this cleared out. We've got a route onto Leoric, but manages to Wraith Walk away. We still have the aura of Spell Shield on both sides active. Deckard with those big roots, those big slows, enabling Phoenix to do extra damage. Once again, a slide onto Leoric, managing to escape with that Wraith Walk. As the camps are cleared away, Broomboy looking at Thrall here, but gets rooted and will not be able to continue the chase. Meanwhile, World Hunger Avoidance Team taking control of this top point. And settling for the middle point is Scalding Sweat Cult, as they will simply trade out this objective. Looking to clear it to keep ETC's health pool high, and it will just be a simple trade here as Malthael and Malthael and Leoric continue to do battle here. Both very prevalent double soakers, not a big double soaking map, but in the situation like this where it calls for it, both of them very strong here. We did see Neopizons picked up by Leoric, so he will be clearing the lanes that much faster as the team's now moving towards that middle temple, but not getting there quite fast enough to turn the temple over is World Hunger Avoidance Team. Thrall still working on those extra stacks. 15 out of 20 for Echo of Elements. Looks like we've got a bit of an invade here. World Hunger Avoidance Team jumping onto this siege camp. Malthael returning to lane, trying to keep everything looking normal. And they will steal it away right under the noses of Scalding Sweat Cult, who had to focus on clearing that middle wave, and looks like they're going to retreat, get this wave soaked up, and then get the siege camp on their side of the map. Very nice little invade there from World Hunger Avoidance Team, as the siege camp is already cleared up. And Malfurion and Sylvanas, buddies in camp clear, working on the siege camp. And we're back to our 1-1-3, our 1-4 setups. Both teams on very even footing here on XP, as I continue to drop more frames, reconnecting here, and I'm good. I'm back. Thanks, Bell Canada. I love it. All right, we've got the big push here in the bottom lane. Oh, but over the wall is Murden. A lot of damage here onto ETC. Malfurion securing the escape as Genzor slides away. Thrall joining in the bottom, actually making this a 4v4. We got some pressure onto Murden, but Murden manages to dwarf toss out before getting interrupted. Temples activating in 30 seconds. Malthael and Leoric working on the double soak in the top as we have now a 4v4 in the bottom lane with the Temple spawning very shortly. Both teams wanting level 10 as this starts. Thrall finishing Echo of the Elements, gaining level 10 here very briefly for the side of World Hunger Avoidance Team as Scalding Sweat Cult taking their level 10s as well. Taking a look at the ults here, we do have the Twilight Dream coming out for Malfurion, looking for that big silence combo. We actually have a Haymaker on the side of Scalding Sweat Cult with the Murden, looking to isolate that Malfurion. Oh, Phoenix taking a lot of damage. The silence coming into play there as Phoenix is destroyed. Kroga managing to escape the ETC ultimate. But with a 5v4 situation, Scalding Sweat Cult not able to push onto this bottom temple. Once again, Malthael and Leoric battling it out up here, but Leoric possibly in a bit of trouble here. Will have to Wraith walk away before feeding Malthael that last right stack. As is pointed out in the chat, we do have an orb build Li Ming coming in, looking for those long distance connections, getting as much poke damage as possible. Got another engage here onto Genzor's, taking a lot of damage from this now resurrected Phoenix. Genzor's taking that orb build Li Ming poke, will have to back off here. But World Hunger Avoidance Team taking that temple and taking a slight lead in structure damage here on Sky Temple. You want that structure advantage because once you have that, all you have to do is trade out objectives until the game is over. You don't actually have to take any team fights if you get that early structure advantage. Broomboy keeping an eye on the opposing team, keeping an eye on that boss as the rest of the squad picks up that siege camp. They don't want it stolen away again. Very well adjusted there by Scalding Sweat Cult as they clear this lane and get this siege camp pushing in. Siege camp now coming up on the side of World Hunger Avoidance Team. Could we see a counter invade as Broomboy pushing towards this camp? ETC is going to ward them away and there will be no invade here. Instead, taking the opportunity to push onto this bottom tower, getting that all-important structure damage here on Sky Temple. And we actually saw the last rites from Malthael killing Leoric in the top, but the silence onto Murden, so little health, gets taken out by the poison damage from Sylvanas, so that's a 2-for-0. As Malthael with that last rites is gonna make Leoric's life a whole lot harder in the top lane. Sylvanas enabling the push here onto this bottom tower, does take it out. The siege camp still very healthy as Li Ming with those orbs, making sure ETC can't get too close. Temple's activating in 20 seconds here. Murden just now respawning. Looks like the team is going to take the opportunity to tap and get ready for this bottom temple. Malthael working on this solo bruiser camp is going to take a bit of damage, but will mostly be fine. Bruiser camp taken on the side of Scalding Sweat Cult as the temples come up, and it looks like we're going to have a trade here. The trade will be better on the side of World Hunger Avoidance Team as they do have a structure advantage now with those extra kills. Genzor is looking to interrupt the rotations as Thrall caps that bottom temple. We've got 4 here in the middle for World Hunger Avoidance Team. They're getting collapsed on Leoric with a big entomb. Wraithling getting pushed out. ETC is getting blown up here. Murden getting that final kill. VZ managing to dodge both the Stormbolt and the Orb as Deckard finishes off that middle fort. Very nicely engaged there by Scalding Sweat Cult to find that ETC kill. Thrall abandoning the bottom temple to help with that team fight. Leoric gonna pick up the scraps, and we do see a 3-man rotation. Will Leoric be able to escape here? They're following that ghost. They're following that spooky ghost. But with that level 13, he can go so far. But the members of World Hunger Avoidance Team committing and finding that Leoric kill and managing to pick up the last shots on this bottom temple. Very well done to anticipate the escape route from Leoric. Even with that ominous Wraith and that extra distance on Wraithwalk, could not get away without the fort there to help.
My temple's power.
Spogino now looking at a 4-man push here from Scalding Sweat Cult, trying to get that damage here. Can Phoenix finish it off? No! Not managing to finish it off as Genzor's now warding away, does not find the slide onto Phoenix, and they will save this top fort for now. Leoric looking to soak safely here in the bottom lane as we now have a 15 to 14 level advantage for World Hunger Avoidance Team. Looking for a big push onto this top fort. It's turned off by Sylvanas, but a big sleep onto Sylvanas could be trouble. Purification Salvo is out, and that will be Sylvanas going down. Broomboy in a bit of trouble here. The Last Rites does manage to get the kill, but ETC traded out. Li Ming is on the chase, but will not manage to find Brickhouse, getting warded away by his teammates. It will be a 2-for-1 for Scalding Sweat Cult. Let's see what they can do with this advantage. Returning to the top lane. Looks like they want to get this top temple down, while Leoric pressuring out Malthael with that big double soak potential. It will be Phoenix finishing off. Goodness me. My voice is cracking like crazy. Sorry folks, I gotta get a quick sip of water here while we have a bit of downtime. Goodness me. A lot of talking. We see the siege camp picked up for World Hunger Avoidance Team. Possibly an invade here, as a little bit slower is Scalding Sweat Cult. Can they finish this up before the invade happens? Yes, they do manage to get the camp and get on out of there before Malthael could blink in, along with the ETC engage. Temple's activating. We've got a top spawn and a bottom spawn. Looks like bottom is going to be the point of contention, as the siege damage, or the structure damage, has shifted in favor of Scalding Sweat Cult. It is now in World Hunger Avoidance Team's interest to fight over this bottom temple. Level 16 here for both teams means we've got an even fight. Deckard Root not finding the mark here, as both teams fighting for position here in the middle of the lane. It looks like Scalding Sweat Cult, realizing their advantage, is going to just move along to the top temple. Is going to take that trade that is favorable for them. Though they will have to keep an eye on this boss. If they all go to that top lane, they could be giving up this boss. It will just be Leoric heading to this top temple, and the rest of the team making sure that there's no shenanigans around the boss pit here. So a nice happy little trade. Malthael looking to keep these lanes caught up, as we see shots going on to the keep walls. The well actually going down on the side of Scalding Sweat Cult. Oh, not quite. There it goes. There goes that well. Leoric holding that top lane, using that Ossian renewal to stay on that point as much as possible. Phoenix in a bit of a precarious position here, manages to avoid the Thrall route and get on out of there. Malthael now looking for the Leoric kill, but Leoric managing to scoot away before the last rites can hit.
My temple's magic subsides. Find something else.
That was almost a quick end for Leoric there. As the team's now positioning around this boss pit, this is where the games are often decided, as once again, dropping frames is Crushinator the caster. Getting back into the game here. Bell, you're killing me! Alright, we're back. Malthael taking that top bruiser solo. That is an advantage he has over Leoric. Leoric not that great on the camp front. So it will have to be Scalding Sweat Cult committing more members to their bruiser camp. But still needing to keep an eye on this boss pit is Muradin. With 5 versus 5, we don't have a lot of boss control mechanics here. We do have the Haymaker from Muradin. We do have the zoning Entomb here, as we do have an Entomb onto Genzor's. Does a counter mosh, catching 2, but is quickly interrupted. The Twilight Dream is out, only catching Deckard. Deckard going down to the last rites. Kroga taking a lot of damage here. Dying to Thrall. It is a 2-for-0 so far. Spagina is very low, though. Malfurion is now taken out next by that full orb build. Li Ming getting Arcane Orbit means that you can pressure out folks from that much further away. And getting that counter kill means that World Hunger Avoidance Team will have to be careful if they're going to push onto this boss. It is scouted out by Kroga. It looks like they're going to settle for the invade here on this siege camp. But a lot of damage from this Li Ming is going to come out. Those orbs are going to be resetting and resetting. Leoric actually spawning on this camp, getting interrupted and going... Oh, it was the Murden actually going down there. I thought that was the Leoric spawn for that. With Murden down, now we see World Hunger Avoidance Team pressing onto that boss. Leoric has spawned, but Leoric not the same amount of control as the Murden. And even without their Malfurion, they are going to push into this boss pit. Leoric not going to be able to do much about it, and the boss going over to the side of World Hunger Avoidance Team. And that leaves Scalding Sweat Cult with a choice. They're going to have to respond to this boss at some point because it's going to get a lot of damage onto this bottom keep. Phoenix now retreating from this top temple as we see World Hunger Avoidance Team with level 20 to level 19 invading onto this bruiser camp that did not find time to be capped by Scalding Sweat Cult. Deckard scouting it out slightly too late here as we see Brickhouse now going to get the channel on that top temple. And the rest of Scalding Sweat Cult looking to clear out this boss before it clears out their keep. It's going to be a close one, but with Kroga tanking the lane, they could do it. And they do manage to save that bottom keep, delaying the catapults for now. But with the temple firing on this top keep, I don't think it's going to have quite enough shots to take it down. Structure's still very even between our two teams here as we see level 20s coming out for both squads. Boss is not coming up for another 4 minutes here, so they're going to have to find something else to fight over here on Sky Temple.
You have stolen enough of my temple's power.
Both teams going to be dancing around the map here, looking possibly for picks, looking to be as safe as possible. Without a boss to fight over and two very weak keeps here on the side of Scalding Sweat Cult, that's 2 points of attack for World Hunger Avoidance Team, but they will have to get their lanes pushed out. They can't just walk in for free. We're going to see teams rotating very safely here until the next objective spawns. We'll see if World Hunger Avoidance Team can find an opportunity to poke down one of those keeps. Looks like they're going to be moving as 5 to clear that top lane, that catapult pushing it in. Once again, that boss still down for another 3 minutes, so they don't have to keep vision of that bottom pit. It looks like 12 seconds left on this siege camp. Scalding Sweat Cult looking to possibly catch them on a rotation here. Both teams going to be safely clearing the lanes as much as they can. Bruiser camp started on the side of World Hunger Avoidance Team as we see a gank push possibility here for Scalding Sweat Cult. World Hunger Avoidance Team not seeing anybody on the map managing to take that bruiser. It looks like they're going to give up on the gank and simply take this siege camp as they saw the bruiser camp being capped. They're going to grab both sieges here in the bottom lane, but they will be very quickly cleared out by World Hunger Avoidance Team, as this bruiser is going to be pushing down the top lane that will have to be answered by Scalding Sweat Cult as we see a double temple spawn mid and top. Looks like the bruiser camp will be taken out before it gets anything done. But World Hunger Avoidance Team sees all the members in the top lane, and they're going to be looking to get onto this keep. 5 players here on the bottom. They are giving up both temples, and they're actually going to turn around. They want to get onto this objective, choosing not to go for that keep. They're going to fight over this mid-temple. Leoric getting some shots in the top. It's actually going to come around here for this team fight as World Hunger Avoidance Team looking to engage. But that Li Ming orb build is going to be dishing out the damage from so far away. It looks like this will be the fight. This is what it's going to come down to. World Hunger Avoidance Team choosing not to engage here, instead going for the trade, going for that top temple. As the middle temple is firing on that middle keep. And the top temple will zap that keep down and is going to start working on this middle wall here of Scalding Sweat Cult. And it looks like we've got possibly a push onto this mid keep here from Scalding Sweat Cult, abandoning the temple. Instead, going straight for that mid keep. They got their prize. They've got 2 keeps down. And Will they manage to get on out of here? There looks like a bit of indecision, and now Broomboy moving towards the core. Genzor is a little bit caught out here. Broomboy managing to land the stun, and a huge buried alive is going to catch ETC. And a great job there. Deathmosh onto 2. Deckard with the zoning ult there. Looks like Malfurion in a bunch of trouble versus that Leoric, but Malthael going down. Muradin going down. Malfurion is now down. Wraithling managing to warp out, but Thrall not so lucky. Sylvanas now going down, and that's a 4-1 for Scalding Sweat Cult. They're going to push straight onto the core here. Malthael ult down for another 30 seconds. That's going to be a tough defense here for Spagino. Nubaka starting to regenerate those shields with the minions coming back up. We've got 75% here on the core. Can Scalding Sweat Cult click their ticket to this domination here? Kroga taking a lot of damage, but 38% on the core as once again I drop frames. Bell, what are you doing to me? Reconnecting, we got 14% of the core. 4 members down. Can Deckard finish this off? We've got 12%, 10%, but Last Rites comes up, and Deckard gets taken out here. And Spagino putting up the defense. Amazing work by the Malthael. 7% on the core of World Hunger Avoidance Team, as we've got 2 catapults pushing down the top lane, dealing a lot of damage here in the late game. Muradin now respawning, but all the members of World Hunger Avoidance Team are back on the field. 30 seconds until Li Ming's back, 40 seconds till Deckard's back. Will they move to core? No, they're going to move to this boss with 2 very weak keeps here. 1 taken down, bottom keep on life support here. World Hunger Avoidance Team with the 5-2 advantage on members is going to pick up this boss and going to use it to tank the shots and possibly move on to core here, but it will be a 5v5 defense. As the boss is taken, Bruiser's taken in the top lane for Scalding Sweat Cult, doing what they can here, but the boss gonna be barreling down the bottom lane along with these siege giants. Genzor's, oh, with that core down, they're gonna have to be careful for a counter core rush. Looks like the entire team backing though. They're gonna see Kroga and Broomboy looking at the top lane here. Leoric ghosting in, sacrificing himself to get Muradin out of there. Uses the buried alive, but will get nothing as the defense is held by World Hunger Avoidance Team. The boss pushing in the bottom lane here will be cleared away here by Scalding Sweat Cult, as trapped on the other side of the map is World Hunger Avoidance Team. Will they actually get through the shields? Possibly. And it goes down without any damage done to the core, so we still have a 100-7 core situation. As Scalding Sweat Cult managing to pull World Hunger Avoidance Team back to that very weak core. Leoric coming up in 10 seconds here. And the temple's activated. They do still have a mostly healthy keep here. The World Hunger Avoidance Team is going to have to be careful. I'm not sure if the objective can get through the keep and the core shielding. It looks like Scalding Sweat Cult looking to possibly move on to the core. World Hunger Avoidance Team smelling something, not seeing anyone in lane, is going to have to stay defensive, but they do have to occupy this temple, putting them in an impossible decision. Is Scalding Sweat Cult as Broomboy moving on to the core here. Here comes Scalding Sweat Cult. Trapped on the temple is World Hunger Avoidance Team, and it looks like, unless we have a miracle defense here, Li Ming still bombing in the back. The shielding is gone. 5%, 4%, and that is Scalding Sweat Cult picking up the domination 2-0. GG's to both squads here. An amazing Sky Temple game. Very, very well done. With that core, defense by Malthael was amazing, but with that 7% core, there's only so much comeback possible here on Sky Temple. Those temples firing directly onto the core. They had to make an impossible choice, and Scalding Sweat Cult managing to get the domination. We saw Malthael dishing out a huge amount of damage, getting a ton onto the Leoric in that off lane, managing to connect 7 killing blows. An amazing performance by Spagino, but just not enough in the face of this Horde build. Li Ming coming out with almost 60,000 damage. A lot of poke onto that ETC with 3 kills converted there. Amazing, amazing stuff. All right, hopefully those internet interruptions were not too damaging to your viewing experience. Let me quickly send a message over to Scalding Sweat Cult, see if they're interested in an interview. And let me get the score updated. Da-da-da, da-da-da, update. Broomboy asking for a moment to breathe. Those were 2 very intense games, very long games. I'll head on into Lobby 5. We'll wait for anyone from Scalding Sweat Cult to join me for a little bit of a post-game interview. What a series we saw there. A lot of back and forth, 2 very evenly matched teams. And it looks like I've got Viper joining me. Hello.
Hello there. How's it going?
Doing well. How are you doing?
Our hearts are pounding. We're shaking, but hey, we're happy.
2 very, very intense games, but you managed to pick up the 2-0 domination. Very, very nicely done.
Yeah, the world, was it? What? That's all I know their name is. What? They are very good. And especially
Yes.
with the sub, they did incredibly well. Hats off to them.
Yeah, very nicely done, making sure those, even throughout the game, there were basically no level leads in either game. Very nice macro from both of you.
Yeah, well done by them. Jesus.
Now, coming into this series, how much scouting did you manage to get into Team What there? Did you get the picks that you wanted in these games, or did they manage to mess with your draft?
They messed with our draft a couple times, but we did look at their history and what they do, and they like to run the Bloodlust comp, so we perma-banned Rhaegar. That's what we all decided to. It's just when we're going in here, ban Rhaegar, yep, each map, sounds good. So we definitely didn't want to deal with that.
Definitely a good plan there, especially on the maps that we ended up on.
Mm-hmm.
If we go back to that game number 1, Vala, very strong pick there on Battlefield of Eternity, though pretty scary into that ETC Toronto composition. What sort of adjustments did you have to make there as a team to make sure that Vala didn't get caught?
Well, our Vala player likes to put his head first in everything, so we had to tell him you have to play way back or else you're dead. And he called out he was selling out a couple times, so the couple times he did die was to get the Immortal, so we were okay with those trades.
Yeah, I remember that one. That was a pretty important pickup there. Trading a life for that Immortal to make sure that wasn't a game-ending push.
Exactly. So he made that call, and it was really, really good. Well done by him. He did really well there. But yeah, we just kept our composure when we had that macro lead, or we had like the camp pushing top. We just waited, didn't try to engage, didn't try to poke or do anything until we saw one of them go and clear it. Then we went and pushed in. It was really good calls by our team captain, and he made Nubaka. He made a couple of very good calls to get the Immortal, so that even if he died or we lost a couple, they didn't get much out of it. So it was really well done by our team.
Very, very nicely done there. Very long game number 1. Had to catch our breaths a bit after that one.
Yeah, that's what we definitely like at the end of it. We're like, okay, everyone get some water, calm down, regroup.
Very nicely done. Looking at game number 2, we had a very close core call there at the end, getting it down to 7%. What were the comms like after that wipe there at 7% on the core?
So at 7% on the core, immediately we're just like, okay, clear the catapults at ours. They're gonna take the rest of this, the rest of the top. Then we knew that they're gonna go boss. So our initial call was to go core immediately once they took boss, but we showed top, so then we immediately went back, cleared out the boss, and just kind of held our breath and knew that since it was 7%, as soon as they did anything to do with the temple, we'd go core. So we just kind of waited and hoped that we wouldn't die.
Yeah, very well done, showing great patience and map knowledge there, understanding where World Hunger Avoidance Team had to be with that double temple spawn.
It was really well done by them too at the very beginning to cheese the bottom, or not. Sorry, I know it's called cheese the bottom tower, but it's you're using Sylvanas to what she's supposed to do. But they took the bottom tower, so immediately at the very beginning, they had that structural advantage. So we knew we were gonna have to play from behind as soon as they got that first tower. But we kept our composure once again and just kind of stayed calm, made sure we knew what we were doing, and if we got caught out, we didn't badger everyone. We were like, okay, what are we gonna do to recover from this? And it was really well done by them. Once again, well done by them, especially with a sub. They just did incredibly well.
Very well done. Speaking of that Sylvanas push, we saw a bit of an unorthodox 1-1-3 setup from World Hunger Avoidance Team. Did that throw off your macro game at all with your 4-player rotation, or is that something you'd come across before?
We've actually come across it before, and we were debating just keeping Phoenix in the same lane as Thrall. But when we did that, we lost a little bit of a wave clear. So then we just decided, okay, well, we'll just have to deal with it as it is. And as you mentioned, we were never really very far back in levels, so we did well.
Yeah, very, very nicely done. All right, so with this 2-0 domination, you move up in the standings. Is there any team that you're looking forward to playing in the latter half of the season here?
Looking forward to playing? No, like it's an incredibly strong, a strong league right now. Like everyone is just really good. It makes games very interesting. So no matter who we're playing, we always know we have to be on a very top game, because if we're just a little off, it goes around so easily. So everyone's very scary. Everyone's well done. It's a really good season.
Well, very well done here coming out from Scalding Sweatcult. Any shout-outs you want to make before we wrap things up here?
Of course, yeah. So I want to shout out to the enemy team. I know I've praised them so many times, but man, they are so good. Good luck to the rest of the season for them. Shout out to my team, Broomg, Broomboy, Proga, Nabaka. Everyone did incredibly well. We had a very good comms, and we were all calm, cool, and collected. So good job on that. And shout out to yourself. Thank you very much for casting. I appreciate you taking the time and doing this for us. And then everyone in chat too. Thank you very much for watching.
All right, my pleasure. Thank you for coming for this interview, and good luck in your future games. Very well done.
Thank you very much, eh?